Hi, time for the weekly video. And as usual, I'm kvetching. Because what else do I do? Um, and as usual, I need to put up a disclaimer because it almost feels like this is a humble brag, but it really, 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 really isn't. I'm sure that I've named this what the topic is, which is what do you do when you're the person that everybody depends on to bail them out and it's not reciprocated. Um, I mean, the reason that feels like a humble brag is because when you have avoidant personality disorder, there's a very good chance that you don't have very many people in your life at all. Um, so what has inspired this video? I don't know how to talk about this. I don't know, whatever. You know what it is. I made it plain. Whatever keeps coming up in the week is what I write the videos about. I sort of write the videos. Obviously, they're not pre-written out ahead of time. Okay, I'm really starting to get myself in a corner here. When I was making the video last week, I was in the process of making it. I got a text from my oldest friend who bounces around. Is kind of like me, likes to travel, but likes to move to travel. Doesn't like go somewhere and then come home. Just completely uproots himself. Anyway, I knew he was in the area. Out of the blue, in the middle of the night, was like, hi, I need a ride to the ER. And I can't drive, and can you bring me to the ER? I haven't seen him in a year, at least. Okay, I can tell you the last time I saw him, he threw himself a birthday party, and I vlogged it, that I was going to a birthday party. That's the last time I saw this person. So if you go look, if you're that interested, you can see in my videos the last time I saw this person. I'd say it's over a year. And I get a text in the middle of the night, and of course I went and did it. And so, and also that day my son had a job interview, which I thought was bad fit, and they thought was bad fit, although I think it's fantastic that he's doing it. I mean, I basically can't do job interviews, so I'm like, hey, go for all of them, keep the practice going. Then when the actual job comes up, he's not going to be nervous because he's done them so many times, and he's going to be like, hey, yeah, let's go again, and he'll be calm at it. It's kind of fantastic. Anyway, so I was up early, took my son around to do this interview. Then I went to work. That day, I don't know why. It was an extended day. I think I worked 11 hours that day. I just, again, they needed somebody, and there I was, and so I just kept working. I started early on that day too. Same thing. I got the request actually to come in again today. Today's my day off, and I was like, no, I have plans. I'm really sorry, and I was kind of proud of my son. Extremely proud of myself for saying no. My son extremely proud of myself. My son is extremely proud of me. That I didn't just drop all my plans and go. And do the work. But anyway, so I took my son to his interview. I went to work and worked a good 11 hours straight, and then was making the videos. And dropped everything and went into the ER. I was actually in the ERs when I was editing them. And I got home about 7 in the morning. Why? Who knows? I mean, it's good to be needed, I guess. It's good to be sort of wanted. It's good to be on somebody's radar. I don't know. I have no idea. I do know that as a person with avoidant personality disorder, it's really, really hard for me to say no. But, you know, the fact that I am so willing to drop everything for anybody, basically. And that's one of the reasons why my circle of people in my life is so small, because if I'm willing to drop everything for somebody because they're in my inner circle, I mean, I would basically die. I wouldn't have time to do anything else but cater to the whims of everybody. I mean, it's evil to put it like that. That's not what it was. I mean, work is, I can say no at work. It's not going to, it's just like I transferred at work. It's astounding. I can say this is what I'm scheduled and this is what I'm willing to work because this is what I agreed to. I don't have to do this. You absolutely do not have to make the videos, but I do. I don't have to be my son's taxi driver. And I don't have to run off in the middle of the night to take somebody to the ER. Which, by the way, I texted afterward, are you okay now that you've gotten the medication that you needed? Are you feeling better? And got the, and I was immediately told, oh, I need to take you out to lunch. I owe you lunch. But yeah, my friend sort of fell off the face of the earth again. So that is all why this is popping up. And again, with a person with avoidant personality disorder, you see why I feel like it's kind of a humble brag to say, oh my goodness, all that happened. All that happened in one day. It was a very long day. And then it seems like more, again, like I said, I was asked to work again with no warning. I mean, the thing is, if I'm giving a little bit of warning, usually I can push things around. That's why, like, I knew, the thing is, the reason why I had such a long day that day is I started earlier than I normally do, and I just, you know, they didn't want me to stop. I didn't stop until my regular hour. So, I mean, I could have left, but I didn't. And would I ever impose on anybody else to do anything to help me? Okay. I had a series of medical procedures in the last couple of years, and you have to have somebody pick you up. Okay, guess what? I had my son pick me up. Pick me up. He can't drive. So he sprung me from the hospital, and I just sort of waited until the drugs had worn off and drove myself home. I had a pretty major surgery, actually, a couple years ago. And he got me out of the hospital. We took an Uber back to his house. I stayed there for a couple hours, and I drove home. And actually, he came with me because it was a bad enough procedure that they thought that I would probably need some help at home. Definitely shouldn't drove, but it did, because I don't have anybody to depend on for anything like that. I can't imagine calling somebody in the middle of the night and asking to take me to the hospital. I was astounded that I was granted my transfer at work. I mean, the timing was absolutely perfect. They all the departments, the week that I left, every single department in the company got pressure to cut payroll. So they were real happy to let me go, because that meant that was the payroll they were cutting, and they didn't have to cut from, well, they did cut, they still had to cut some payroll from other people, but they didn't have to cut in nearly as much as they would have had to cut if I was still there, because that's a full-time job. I will not ever depend on anybody else. I'm actually really, 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 really not looking forward to getting older. I mean, oh my God. I don't know how I'm going to. I suppose I should start researching it now, for real, even though I'm not. I mean, we're talking like 15, 20 years from now, but still, there will be a point where I'm not going to be able to take care of myself. There will be a point where I'm really not going to be able to drive myself home after a procedure, for example, where I get really, really sick, where something really bad happens, and I have no idea. I think, in a way, this is projection. Go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. The people that have the opposite type of avoidant personality disorder, where they are comfortable around people they already know versus strangers like me, because that's half the problem. I mean, I would never let anybody in close enough to be able to do anything to help me, to take care of me. Never going to happen. People who live with their families and their family is okay for whatever reason, I mean, that means they've got some people. I mean, I'm sure that they've got a lot more people who are going to be dependent upon them, but they've got somebody around who they could call on if they had to. And what's really funny is that I'll ask for help when it comes to my cats, but not me. Because it's not me. It's cats. You know, I don't understand it. I do understand it. You know, the self-esteem hit. I'm not supposed to. I mean, I was told by, I know I'm always going back to, I was told by my mother, she was absolutely pissed off that I would sleep. You're not allowed to be tired. You shouldn't be tired. Wait, you can't. No. I mean, seriously, I'm dead serious. Crazy. Absolutely monkers. Every animal has to sleep. Every person has to sleep. Growing up, when my son was little, I was doing everything I could to get him to get at least 8 hours, preferably 10 hours of sleep, so they could, and it worked. Kid is 6 feet tall. He's healthy. You know? And my mother was like, no, you can't. You're not supposed to. Who said you could sleep? She told me directly that she would just be filled with rage if anybody was sleeping around her. And I'm like, she used to babysit. You know, she didn't have like a regular job. She had people come to the house and she'd babysit them, including babies that had to sleep. I'm like, how? Were you like that? I never asked, because, like, oh my God, but was she like that with with babies and toddlers. Oh my God. So she was in a rage whenever she saw them sleep? What? Oh my God. And that was her job. Oh my God. I mean, it explains a lot. If she was that frustrated every second that she was working, and she couldn't take it out on my father because he was a big guy and he didn't like to be questioned, and he would make that known physically. So all she could do was bully her kids. I don't know. I mean, my sister's seriously detached from her kids. She has 3. And her eldest, they moved for it would have been his senior year of high school. And she just let him stay behind and move in with his girlfriend. I'm like, are you crazy? What happens if they have a fight and break up? He has no place to live and he's a kid. She's like, it's fine, whatever. Her own kid. I don't. So I mean, people are opposite of me. Some are opposite of me, but no. I mean, I'm pretty sure my sister got married the second time. Well, technically it was her third time, but this time, because she wanted somebody around to be available to take care of her kids that she already had. I don't know. I don't know. So usually these videos have a ending with sort of like an action plan for people. This is what you do if this is what you're dealing with. Sorry, no. I think the action plan is, if you're going through that, I see you. I know that you've got this stress in your life of having people taking from you and then you can't ever get it back from them. I mean, it's silly. A little nothing thing that probably even like just beyond acquaintances would probably be willing to do like a dumb little thing for you. And I bet you can't even ask for the most simple little things. Because we've been trained to think of ourselves as so much lesser than anybody else that we're not totally not worthy of somebody taking care of us. And can't trust anybody anyway. They're not going to be there if we ask them to be there. And the reason for that is the people who were making us avoidant basically wanted us under their thumb for whatever purpose, but they wanted to make sure that we would be so connected to them that and so mistrustful of other people that we would never leave and we would be available to do their bidding, basically. So how do you break out of that? I have no idea. I'm sure there are therapists who would do like exposure type therapy. I personally think that would be so annoying if you were the like one of 6 people in somebody's in somebody with avoidant personality disorders circle, and suddenly you're asking them all to do these. I mean, it's little one-offs every once in a while, but if you're having them do a little one-off every week, then oh my Lord, that would be annoying. People would get annoyed with you and it would backfire. If you want to do it sort of on your own, that is part of DBT. It was the part that was impossible. It would be like, okay, call a friend and ask them to go to a movie with you or something. Impossible. Okay, the only person I know that would go to a movie with me lives about 800 miles away. That's not happening. I mean, literally, when I was going through the DBT process. And in reality, I have oodles of relatives and cousins and everything else. And if I called one up and said, hey, let's go to a movie or whatever, they probably would do it. But also I would have to give, 6 liters of blood in the form of telling them everything I've been doing for the last 10 years, and it would kill me dead. There's nobody that I have in my life that would be that casual. And yes, talking about what I've been doing with people who might remember and could possibly be hanging over my head is torture for me. I don't know. But again, if you want structured practice on how to do that, you can buy a DBT workbook, and and basically the point of DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, is it was designed for people with borderline personality disorder, and it is sort of a step-by-step guide to how to interact with people in an appropriate manner. In a nutshell, really, truly, that's what it is. And also a step-by-step guide on how to manage your own emotions. Now, that part, generally, people with avoidant personality disorder don't need. But how to act and react to people, really, truly, it can be very helpful. So that's about the only thing I could say, and maybe you're not tackling that issue head on, because it's actually a double issue. The first issue is can't say no to people, and the second issue is can't ask for help. That's what the problem is. Those two together really, really, really get you stuck when you have avoidant personality disorder. So if that is something you really need to work on, again, DBT therapy, and there are workbooks you can just buy instead of actually going through the therapy, where you can look through things on your own and come up with tips on your own. Because that's all about action versus cognitive behavioral therapy, which is thinking things through. Like, is this actually going to happen the way you think it is? Let's change the way you think, and that will change your behavior. I mean, that's not work for avoidant people. But the absolutely practical step-by-step guides, I mean, it did help me to a degree. It helped my son who has autism, who didn't know what emotions were and didn't acknowledge that they existed, and he got stuck before the mirror stage of development, meaning he thought that people were sort of hive mind and they could see what he was thinking, and he didn't have to explain it. Everybody should know. And he still does that to a degree, and it's like, you have some information you tell me? And then I'll remember, oh yeah, I can't read his mind. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I've been going through this week. It's feeling a lot of pressure because people are coming out of the woodwork. Okay, I'm really resistant to talk about the rest, but I'm going to talk about the rest. This is the effect of having that happen in your life, which is this. This makes me cringe on so many levels, but what the heck, I'll tell you anyway. I was in a shopping area nowhere near my house. Thank you God it was nowhere near my house. And some guy saw me and decided shoot his shot, I guess. You know, he started with, "Are you a local?" Which thank God I was not. But you know what? Here's the thing. I would never see a person that I don't know who wanted to talk to me and get to know me. I would never, ever see them as somebody that could even be an equal to me. I would see them as a person trying to get something from me, period. No matter how nice they are, no matter how much they might want to, like, be there for me, let's just call it that. I wouldn't acknowledge it. I wouldn't see it when it's happening. I definitely can't. Afterward, I'm like, oh, and it makes me really cringy, but it makes me feel cringy. But I would never be able to allow myself to be treated well or taken care of, because I could get used to it and then it could go away and then I'd be stuck because I'd be used to it. Things like my son keeps saying, I mean, this is a different issue, but he wants to move and he's like, Mom, we should move together, get a bigger place. In the end, we will both be paying less rent. And I'm like, and in the end, if either you move out or you stop working, I'm going to have to pay for everything by myself and I can't afford it. No, I would never. I mean, this is my son who, yeah, okay, maybe isn't the most stable, but it wouldn't matter. Anybody else either. I would never depend on anybody for any reason whatsoever, period, no matter what. So, how am I supposed to cope with aging? I mean, like literally in 10 years, I would be able to get Social Security. If you're getting Social Security, they're assuming you're not working. I mean, I can't imagine I wouldn't be working, but whatever. Who knows? I could have a stroke tomorrow, and then what would happen? I guess I would just lay there and die. And because who would take care of anything? So I would lay there and die, and my cats would die because nobody's going to be able to take care of them. This is the reality of it. I don't know how to change it. Could be that I'm too set in my ways. So I guess this is my little nugget of advice at the end. I suggest strongly, while you still can, that you practice asking for help so that it's something that you are able to do should you really need help sometime in the future. Anyway, this is kind of a sad, sorry little video for this week. Sorry about that. Hopefully next week will be a little better.